The priestess promised wealth without blood, no sacrifice, no payment, just 3 days of madness on the streets. One friend refused, the other accepted, and from that night something began to follow her, even before the madness did. Welcome to African Tales by Chinwa, breathing life into African tales. Stella and Sharon lived in a one-room apartment that never truly rested. Even when the lights were off, the room still felt awake, heavy with thoughts, worries, and unspoken fears. The paint on the walls had peeled in quiet surrender, and the single window refused to let in enough air. Their mattress lay flat on the floor, thin and tired, just like the dreams they kept postponing. They were friends, real friends, the kind that shared clothes, secrets, and hunger. But above all, they were united by survival. By day, they laughed, they gossiped, they scrolled through Instagram, staring at girls their age posting pictures in lecky houses, private pools, soft smiles, and captions like God did. By night, they wore tight clothes, heavy lashes, and confidence they borrowed from desperation. Men came with promises and left with excuses. Some paid well, most didn't. The money always came in small amounts. Notes folded too many times. Transfers that looked decent until expenses swallowed them whole. After transport, food, rent contribution, hair, nails, data, and the occasional emergency, nothing meaningful remained. Just enough to survive. Sharon hated that word. Manage. She hated waking up tired from the night's hustle and still broke. Hated counting money after a long night and realizing it wouldn't help a tangible need. One night she sat on the mattress, yanking off her wig and throwing it aside. "This life no balance," she said bitterly. "We dey risk everything but the money no day change." Stella didn't look up. She was folding clothes carefully, like order could bring peace. "At least we dey survive," she replied calmly. "Survive?" Sharon scoffed. "Is that what you want to do forever?" Stella paused. She chose her words the way one chooses a safe path in the dark. "I want money too. Big money. But what else should we do? When there are no jobs anywhere, a beg ooh." The difference between them was simple. Sharon wanted money at all cost. Stella wanted money, but not at the cost of herself. Later that night, Stella slept easily, her breathing slow and steady. Sharon did not. She lay on her back, phone glowing above her face, scrolling endlessly. One post stopped her cold. A girl she once knew from the streets. A girl who used to beg for transport money now stood in front of a white duplex in Lekki. Designer bag, clean smile, no shame. Sharon's chest tightened. "Nawa, ooh, how did this girl make it so big? Baba gotta beg, am I a spoon?" Sharon lamented. The next evening, Sharon dressed up and went to a nearby joint. Not to party, but her usual style, she ordered 1 bottle of Coke with her last card, just to know if she could meet a better client. Sharon sat quietly at the joint, her bottle of Coke sweating on the plastic table. At the table beside her, 3 girls leaned close, excitement dancing in their voices. They looked like girls who were tired of small money, girls who had reached the same breaking point Sharon had reached. "I heard it's real oh," one of them said, lowering her voice. "My friend's cousin did it." Another laughed nervously. "All these stories, they always sound sweet at first. This one different," the first insisted. "They say the woman de Ojugbota." Sharon's ears sharpened. "Wait," the third girl cut in, eyes wide. "You mean that Wonder Woman thing?" "Yes, now," the first one snapped. "That's what I'm saying. Am not sure, but the way everybody they talk aim, no fit be lie." They leaned closer, voices dropping further. They say she makes you very attractive to big men, and make the men do anything you ask of them, one whispered. And no human blood involved. No human sacrifice, the third said, almost shocked by her own words. Sharon felt her heart beat louder. So, what's the catch? One asked. They went quiet. I don't know, the first finally said, but I'm thinking of trying, because this suffering is too much. Same here, the second agreed. We can't be doing one-night stand forever and still be broke. The third girl nodded slowly. Let's go and see for ourselves. If it's fake, we leave. If it's real... She didn't finish the sentence. Sharon didn't need her to. When the girls stood up to leave, Sharon waited until they were gone. She paid for her drink, stood up quickly, and walked home like someone running from fire. Sharon burst into the room like someone who had just seen the future. Her eyes were bright, too bright. Her voice trembled with excitement as she dropped her bag and sat on the mattress beside Stella. I found it, she said. Stella looked up slowly. Found what? A way out, Sharon replied. A real one. She narrated everything. About the girls. About the Wonder Woman in Ojugbota. Her hands moved wildly as if she was afraid the idea might escape if she slowed down. Stella listened quietly. Too quietly. When Sharon finished, silence filled the room. No, count me out, Stella said finally. No, Stella said finally. Sharon blinked. No, no, Stella repeated, firmer now. This thing you're saying doesn't sound right. Sharon laughed. You think poverty sounds right? Stella stood up. Her chest felt tight. The devil doesn't give anything for free. Never. There's always a price. And what price are we not already paying? Sharon shot back. Look at us. Look around. Stella's voice dropped. What if something goes wrong? What if they ask for something greater? Everything in life is a risk, Sharon snapped. At least this one promises something. Sharon scoffed. Fear has kept us small for too long. She grabbed her phone and turned it toward Stella. Pictures of soft lives, big houses, smiling girls. Proof, at least to Sharon. I'm going, Sharon said quietly. With or without you. Stella's throat burned. Please, let's just think about it. Sharon stood up. I've been thinking all my life. That night, Stella lay awake, listening to Sharon's breathing beside her. Her heart was heavy with fear, but she finally decided to give it a try. The next day, they went in search of Wonder Woman in Ojugbota. The moment Stella stepped inside the house, her spirit recoiled. Nothing was loud, yet everything screamed warning. The air was thick with incense. This was not a shrine, yet it was clear something diabolic lived comfortably there. Stella's heart began to race. The woman sitting before them did not fit the stories Stella had grown up hearing. She was young and beautiful, smooth-skinned, calm. No dramatic appearance, just quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything. Her white dress was plain, but it carried authority. She didn't ask them to sit. She didn't ask why they had come. She simply looked at them and said, You came because you want money. Big money. Sharon swallowed hard. The woman continued evenly. You want doors to open. You want attention that changes your life. Stella felt her stomach twist. Sharon nodded without hesitation. There is a condition, the woman said. The word landed heavily in the room. For 3 days, the priestess said, her voice steady. You will lose your senses. You will roam the streets like one whose mind has left her body. People will laugh. People will ignore you. Some will insult you. Stella felt her legs weaken. Sweat rolled down Stella's back. "Run mad," Stella whispered. "On the streets." "Yes." "What if something happens?" Stella asked, her voice shaking. "On the fourth day," the woman cut in calmly, "you will return here. Whatever you desire will begin to locate you." Silence fell. Stella could hear her own breathing. Loud, panicked, she imagined the streets, men, night, danger. Lagos had never been kind to mad people. Sharon stepped forward. "So that's all?" she asked. The woman nodded slowly. "That is all." "You are not forced," the woman added. "Go, think, decide, come back if you are ready." Stella turned toward Sharon immediately, her eyes pleading. But Sharon wasn't looking at her. Sharon was looking at the woman, like someone staring at the only door left in a burning house. As they left there that evening, they didn't talk on the way home. The silence between Stella and Sharon was louder than any argument. Stella's mind was racing, replaying the woman's calm voice, the heavy smell of incense, the word madness echoing again and again in her head. The moment they stepped into their room, Stella dropped her bag and turned. "I'm not doing it," she said immediately. Her voice shook, but her words were firm. "I can't." Sharon sighed slowly, like someone already tired of a discussion. She sat on the mattress and removed her shoes without looking up. "You didn't even think about it," Sharon said. "I did," Stella snapped. "I thought about everything. 3 days on the streets. Anything can happen. What if something goes wrong?" Sharon laughed softly. "Something is already wrong. Look at our lives." Stella moved closer. "Money is not worth that. Nothing is worth losing your mind or your life." Sharon finally looked up, her eyes sharp. "That's because you're comfortable with being poor." "I'm not." "That's not true," Stella said quickly. "I want more, too. I just don't want it this way." "This way is the only way that has shown itself," Sharon replied coldly. Stella's chest tightened. "Please, let's forget it. Let's hustle another way." Sharon stood up abruptly. "No, I'm going back." Stella froze. Sharon stepped closer, her voice low and hard. "If I do this and make it big, don't come running to me for help. Don't call me. Don't cry to me." Stella's eyes filled with tears. "Please, Sharon, I don't have a good feeling about all this," she said, her voice shaking. Sharon shrugged. "I want survival." That night they lay on the same mattress, backs turned to each other. The next morning, Sharon returned alone. The house felt different this time, heavier. The incense seemed thicker, like it had been waiting for her. The priestess sat in the same spot, calm, unhurried, as if Sharon had never left. "You've decided," the woman said. Sharon nodded. Her mouth was dry, but her eyes were steady. "I'm ready." The priestess didn't smile. She motioned Sharon to kneel. She brought out small items Sharon couldn't recognize. Powders, liquids, a bowl that looked ordinary but felt dangerous just sitting there. She whispered words Sharon didn't understand, words that crawled into the air and refused to disappear. Then the priestess touched Sharon's forehead. Everything shifted. Sharon gasped. Her body stiffened. Her eyes widened, then went empty, like a light switched off from inside. Her breathing changed, slower, deeper, unnatural. The priestess leaned close and spoke, her voice low and commanding. "Go." Sharon stood up suddenly, like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. "Go to the streets," the woman continued. "Lose yourself. Forget your name. Forget where you came from. For 3 days you belong to madness." Sharon turned and walked out without a word. By evening, Lagos met her new face. She screamed at shadows, laughed at nothing, ate from the ground. Slept anywhere her body dropped. People pointed, people laughed, some filmed, most walked past. Day 1 passed. Day 2 came and her madness deepened. Her clothes tore, her hair tangled, her eyes no longer recognized kindness or danger. By the 3rd day, Sharon was no longer close to being human. And somewhere in the quiet of her room, Stella woke up with a heavy chest, wondering what must be going on with Sharon wherever she was. And somewhere in another part of Lagos was Kendrick, a KK driver. He was young, sharp-eyed, and dangerously desperate, the kind of man who believed poverty was worse than sin. Every night he counted failures instead of dreams. Every morning he woke up angry at the world. Kendrick wanted money, not comfort. Power, not patience. When opportunity finally whispered his name from the dark, he didn't ask questions. He only asked how far. That night, Kendrick knelt. The floor beneath his knees was cold, but his heart burned hotter than fire. He had knelt like this before, many times, asking for money that never came, begging for doors that never opened. Tonight was different. Tonight he knelt before one with the key to wealth, or to Kendrick, rather. The Baba sat in shadow, his face hidden, his presence heavy. Nothing moved in the room except the slow curl of incense climbing toward the ceiling. "You want wealth," the voice said, calm and final. "Yes," Kendrick replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm tired of struggling." Silence followed, the kind that presses on the ears. "There is a price," Baba said at last. Kendrick lifted his head slightly, hope flickering. "You must find a mad woman," the voice continued, "one whose mind no longer guards her." Kendrick swallowed hard. "You will defile what remains of her dignity," the Grandmaster said without emotion. "Then you will bring me her private parts. Only then will your fortune open." Kendrick's hands shook, but at this point he was ready to do anything as long as it brought money. Kendrick left before dawn, the city still half asleep. Lagos had many mad people. The streets hid them well, under bridges, beside gutters. At bus stops no one noticed anymore. He walked for hours, eyes scanning, heart pounding. Each step felt heavier than the last. Twice he turned back. Twice hunger for money pushed him forward again. And before long he saw her. She sat by the roadside, dirty, torn, murmuring words that made no sense. Her hair was matted, her eyes were hollow. Sharon. And without hesitation, Kendrick and the guy he had paid earlier bundled her into the car as they drove into a lonely part. What happened next was quiet, ugly, fast, the kind of act the city swallowed without a sound. Sharon resisted weakly, then went still, her mind too far gone to understand what was being taken from her. When Kendrick was done, he did not look back. He took what the Grandmaster demanded, wrapped it carefully, and walked away with shaking hands. Sharon lay there, broken, lifeless and bleeding, abandoned like trash. The night passed, morning came, people walked by, some stared, some shook their heads. No one stopped. After so many days of being worried and finally concluding Sharon has probably completed the ritual and moved on with her life, Stella was scrolling through her phone. Then she saw it. A post, a picture blurred but unmistakable. Mad woman found on the streets of Lagos. Some body parts missing. Stella looked closely and found out it was Sharon, her roomie. Stella's phone slipped from her hand. Her world tilted. She fell to her knees and cried bitterly, and also wished she had pressed harder. At that moment, she understood. Fear had not been weakness. It had been mercy. Some doors open because desperation pushes them, and behind them waits a price too terrible to imagine. Money promised without effort often demands payment where you least expect it. First your conscience, then your dignity, then sometimes your life. The tragedy is not just in the loss, but in the realization that the warning signs were always there, whispering quietly while desperation shouted louder. Stella survived not because she was lucky, but because she listened to fear when fear was trying to protect her. Sharon fell not because she was wicked, but because hunger blinded her to the truth that shortcuts don't erase suffering. They only postpone it, with interest. When survival begins to look more important than sanity, humanity, and self-worth, the real danger has already started. So here's the question that lingers long after the story ends. If money promised to change your life today, what part of yourself would you be willing to lose for it? And would it still be worth it tomorrow? If this story touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe to African Tales by Chinwa, and share this story with someone who needs the warning.